That was when it was posted. So I am also of the opinion that I'm going to leave the link open because when we started, I saw that it was only 67 persons from the two groups that have submitted. And I told you I'm going to weight it. It's going to form part of your CA, even if it is 5 marks, is something. So in order for a lot of people that are not frequent with checking their WhatsApp and social media, not to be shortchanged, I think I'll leave the link open and see how we could see that. I mean, to ensure that at least I get more response before we shut it down. I think that is fair. More so that today also happens to be my birthday. I also need to
Ah,
be on it. Yes, I'm a year older today, so I should also be giving freebies today. It's all right.
I will just on
Um,
happy birthday to you, sir.
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday,
sir.
Happy birthday,
Happy
sir.
birthday,
Happy
sir.
birthday,
thank you
sir.
so
Birthday,
much. I
sir.
appreciate
Happy
you all.
Return.
God bless you.
Birthday, sir. More grace and
Happy
wisdom.
on every side.
Happy birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Long
All
life and
right.
Happy birthday, sir.
prosperity.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone. Hmm. All right. So I don't know. Class rep, I'll need your feedback. Do we have the lecture before we take the group presentations from what we did? The lecture today is going to be very brief. We're only going to look at EIS. Then I'll also put you through the way as the questions have been said. Last year I taught the course alone. This year I'm teaching it with Dr. Taguba, and the style will not just be different. It's going to still follow the same pattern. So we'll just take a look at last year's question also after this. But I want to find out from you, class rep, there are two assignments you help me with. One is, do we take the class now and then take the presentation later, or take the presentation and the class briefly later? Maybe you may answer for the class on that. Then secondly, before now, also, I don't know whether you were able to put out the poll for people to give their response concerning the test. Usually, let's just close out on this so that during revision, I only come to give you area of concentration and also to revise with you. Then we see in the exam, of course, except you choose to fail. This is not a course that you ought to fail. I'll be coordinating and I will ensure that if you attend my class, based on the way you respond, you should be able to pass and pass very well. So it's the core course. It's part of the major requirement for you to get the MSc in environmental sustainability. So I would like everyone at least let your grade reflect it very well. So by God's grace, we'll be doing that. Except he just chose to fail. As usually we try as much as possible to help you get a good grade. Now, class rep, I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
whether you may wish to respond to that, please.
I dropped in
Or
the
you
chat.
need to or you need to gather data before you respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on the test, va?
Okay, no, not on the test, on the lecture first.
Okay. We have the lecture
People are
first.
saying lecture first, lecture first. I'm saying lecture first more.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
one person say presentation first,
Okay.
lecture first. Yeah. So I
It's
think
okay.
the
I
lecture
think that
first.
seems to be the highest opinion.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll quickly run through what we have for this morning. And make progress. All right. So permit me to display my slide. Okay, let's open. Whoa. Where are you? All right. So yesterday we started with the environmental impact assessment process generally, and I told you that no matter what, questions must come from here because this is just the core aspect of this course. And we went through the processes. I said that it's systematic in nature, the process used to identify, predict, and evaluate as well as mitigate the environmental and social effect of proposed project before decisions are made. And I say it is based on the EIA Act in 2004, as well as international best practices. So we went through all the processes, and I say, if possible, just try and memorize it, these 10 core processes, and let it follow one after the other. It is very easy to forget, but as much as possible, just no matter how I don't know how you're going to do it, but just try and memorize it to follow stepwise the way it is. We went further to talk about the purpose. I went further to discuss in details what they all entails. And then we look at this hierarchy of mitigation. The first line of action is look at, if possible, can you avoid this? If you cannot, then the last option will be to release money to compensate or to offset. And went into the fact that mitigation, that is where the ESMP or the EMP comes in. We talk about a whole lot of it and then gave these examples to guide you also. Well, we are going to discuss EIS today. That's the environmental impact statement, which is also the EIA report. You get to see that once you are doing environmental impact assessment or environmental and social management plan, this particular table will just have to appear within your work. And you are going to categorize it at the pre-construction work, the construction phase of the work, and even at the decommissioning phase. I forgot to share that document I shared, but you have access to a whole lot of it based on what we are going to discuss today. So all these are to guide you. Maybe when I'll be doing the area of concentration, if I'm tempted to set questions from any of the, I'll guide you to the particular ones so that you can memorize some things for your exams. But for the tests, I think the sorry, I'm using my phone network and the line is becoming busy. But don't worry, I should be able to cope. All right. So Yeah, sorry about that. Somebody was trying to call me and that kicked me out of the class. Uh, hopefully, it's okay. All right. Okay, so we'll go through. Yes, so the reporting. So this is the EIS, and then we'll talk more about it today. We talk about it briefly in line with the EIA process yesterday, and that the report is also subject to review by the Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Environment, or by independent reviewers, experts that do the peer review. And they look at the completeness and accuracy, the scientific rigor and objectivity, stakeholders' responsiveness, as well as how much was it aligned with the TOR. Remember, the TOR is the output of your scoping activities. Okay, don't forget that. And we look at the review and also give an empirical instance of how a review is being done, the follow-up process, public participation, look at the challenges of EIA practice in Nigeria, the opportunities for improvement, and we ended the lecture yesterday. So today we are going to look at the EIA report, or what is called environmental impact statement. So once you hear that environmental impact statement, they are referring to the EIA report or the ESIA report. So, like I said at the onset, ESIA report has a comprehensive environmental impact statement as well as the environmental and social management plan inside the EIS. So if it is a category A project, you are expected to have a full EIS, okay? You have an EIS, okay, coming out of it. If it is a category 2 or category B project, you are going to have just the ESMP report. You call that one ESMP report, okay? So once you hear EIS, you are talking about a full EIA being carried out for that particular activity and a project. So you see that the EIA report, or what called the EIS, is a detailed and structured document that evaluates potential environmental, social, and health effects of a proposed project or development before it is approved or implemented. It's required for major infrastructure projects, especially the category A project or category 1 project, the road projects, dams, power plant, okay, that involves heavy manipulation or heavy disturbance of the ecosystem, as well as the life of the people living within the project site. And it must comply with national and donor requirements. Examples of donors: the World Bank. In fact, World Bank, they have their standards when you are doing such developmental project. The African Development Bank, and then other banks too. They get into, you just have to provide a detailed, well-reviewed EIS in order to access funding. Let me also add that the World Bank doesn't give loan. Sorry, doesn't give grants. Okay, they don't give grants, but they rather give you loan. Whenever World Bank is giving money, it's actually in loans that are in fact, let me put it that way. There are some loans Nigeria is paying now that they took from the World Bank. It was taken maybe during the 90s. We may be paying them now. And some of the loans we are taking for some developmental activities today Our children, or even during our time, we are going to pay it back. You must pay back. The country or the borrower, yes, that is Nigeria now, must pay back. So the World Bank gives loan. They don't give grants like that. So, and when they give you loan, they also go for that to ensure that you don't waste this loan. And that the loan they are giving you, you don't drag them into court. And hence the need for you to really go do a thorough environmental and social impact assessment to ensure that at the end of the day, developmental projects which are being meant for the people of a particular region or country don't lead to profit alone, but let it be profit, the people as well as the planet being carried along and being beneficiaries of the project. So the qualities of a good EIA report is that it is clear with logical sequence that describe the necessary steps of the assessment. Like I told you, you first of all do screening and then you do scoping, okay? A description of the development consent procedure and how EIA fits in. It reads a single document with appropriate cross-referencing. It is concise, comprehensive, and objective. Okay? It is written impartially without bias. Okay? Everything about whatever is observed is being written. You will not say because you don't want to offend these people, you are not going to bring out there, or somebody push you aside. See that thing they are discussing in that stakeholders meeting. Those people, it's like I don't trust them. Okay, somebody voiced out his concern and it looks reasonable. Somebody comes behind and tell you that I don't trust those people, or those people, they are enemies to my clan, so don't even put that in inside part of what you are going to mitigate. No, you are not permitted to do that. It has to be impartial as much as possible, addressing major concerns, especially gotten from when you do your scoping and also when you do your stakeholder engagement. Includes all full description and comparison of alternatives that are studied, and makes effective use of diagram, illustration, photographs, yes, and other graphics to support the text. It has to be convincing. Like you see the ESMP I showed you yesterday, which I tell you that if you are doing a full EIA, it is that document you are seeing is part of the EIS also. You find out that they show map, they also show pictures, okay, in order to drive the message, to make it convincing before the donor will give out money for such. The good qualities of an EIA report will also continue with it. The numbering seems a little bit bad here, but it's a continuation of the previous page. So we use consistent terminology that are consistent with the glossary. It's reference all information sources used, has a clear explanation of complex issues. It should be simple. Okay, it's not a time for you to display your grammatical know-how. It is where to come simple as much as possible. And then it contains good description of the method used for the study of each environmental factor and covers each environmental factor in a way proportionate to its importance. And then provide evidence of effective consultations. Yes, who and who did you consult? Provide basis for effective consultations to come, and make commitment to mitigation and monitoring. Yes, who is going to do this? Is it the contractor? Is it the proponent? Is it the Federal Ministry of Environment? And then contains non-technical summary, which does not contain technical and does not contain technical jargons. Contains a reference listing the sources used for the description and assessment included in the report. So all these are qualities of a good EIA report. So As suggested by the Federal Ministry of Environment in 1995, these are some of the content. It can also, this is not cast on iron, okay, but this gives you an overview of what is expected. If there are other information that you know that it's going to benefit the report, that's going to add value to the report, as you're going to see, based on, and then there are examples, as we are going to see later, for you to follow. You are free to add it in order to further boost the content of your EIS. So the table of content includes the list of acronyms. If you see that report yesterday, they mentioned it. Executive summary, acknowledgement. You also put the EIA preparer, whoever the consultant that wrote the EIA, also write the person's name and address as well too. Then the introduction is chapter 1. Chapter 2 provides the justification for the work, the need for the project, the value for the project. This is where you now showcase the positive aspect of the project and the envisaged sustainability. Chapter 3 talk about the project and process description, the type, input, output of raw materials, product, the location, the technological layout, the construction, the production process, and so on and so forth. The chapter 4 gives a description of the environment. Your baseline data comes in here. And the study approach, the geographical location, the field data gotten, okay, the climatic condition of the place, the noise quality assessment, all the baseline data of the environment. They are going to put it here as well too. Here, they restricted it to environment, but remember the international best practice now is that you must include a social component in this your chapter 4. So you also list them. The baseline, remember what I said in there, you report it, that this is how their condition is, this is how the way of life of people, this is what they are engaged in, this is how their 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 vegetation. Then you now later give us an idea of how much your project is going to change all this baseline data that you've presented. So the vegetation cover, characteristics, the potential land use, all of them, these are baseline data that you will need to give us an idea of. So the chapter 5 look at the associated and potential environmental impacts. Okay, impact on the prediction methodology, significant positive impact, you list them, significant negative impact, site preparation, and so on and so forth. Direct, indirect, adverse, beneficial, hazardous, and so on and so forth. So then you come to the appendices. So all these are giving the general outlook of how the chapters look like. But in practice, you see a little deviation, but not too much, depending on the style of presentation that each consultant may choose. But some of this information listed there, they just have to be captured in order to help the reviewers as well as the funders to take informed decision. You have the appendices, your technical information, your acronyms, public informations, involvement summary, very important. They must see that. And then information sources and reference, detail of study team. You use another consultant to get you, or use any particular lab. Did anybody follow you to the field? All those ones, you include the study team as well as the terms of reference, so that when you do a very bad work, they will also know how to trace it and also blacklist that company or individual. And when you do a very good job, they'll also take note of it so that you can also be rewarded in future with more work. So This came out in one of the questions last year and say, what are the common reporting shortcomings? EIS is that is the end product of the EIA process. You come up with the environmental impact statement. But most times, this report, they are not perfect. Okay. Sometimes they are also not complete, full of a lot of shortcomings. And what are those major shortcomings that we need to watch against when we are preparing our home as professionals? Object of activity is described too narrowly. And I believe with the use of AI and other things these days, it will also guide some of us when to make sure that as much as you try to be concise in your report, you also need to be complete in your assessment of the object of activity. It's concise, but it provides all the information necessary. There is incomplete description of activity, making it ambiguous. Don't really understand. Okay, you say air pollution of where? Air pollution at where? How localized it is? Does it cover from one region to the other? Oil spillage, just leave it hanging like that. You need to provide a full description of the activity, then, but not too much. Alternatives do not account for the environment. Yes. The alternatives you are presenting may actually be abstract. Sometimes some people do a very bad job that they leave the alternatives that somebody suggested in one work. You went and copied the person's EIS. And while you're doing that, when you're editing to submit, you just leave the person's alternative, doesn't even match with your work altogether, and they leave it like that. Reviewers will look at it and just be surprised and wondering. Key problems not described, especially when you don't do your stakeholder engagement. This one happens a lot. The key problems are overlooked and they become major problems in the course of the project cycle. Sensitive environment aspect overlooked, also part of low level or lack of stakeholder engagement. Standards and legislation are not described or alternatives do not comply with them. The same thing. I said it yesterday that some people that are doing EIA, EIS now, that are consultants that are involved in EIA, they are not even supposed to be there. But one way or the other, they found themselves there because a lot of people, professionals, people that went to school, that read about the environment, that are supposed to be doing this, they are not there. So quacks have entered into it, and one way or the other, they got themselves accredited by the Federal Ministry of Environment. But usually those ones, they are easily spotted. And once the ministry discover you do a very bad job, you may be surprised that except a particular contractor is involving you, you may be blacklisted. So some mitigating measures were not considered. So also part of the shortcomings. Best alternatives not described or are described insufficiently. Serious impacts are not mentioned or correctly described. Something that is, in fact, when they are doing road construction work, particulate matters goes up, and especially if it is an area that have a high deposit of, let's say, toxic element. You just describe it anyhow without making reference to the fact that some of these toxic elements, once they become particulate matter and human being inhale it, it can lead to a very serious health issue. You just describe it as dust. Okay. As such, you are not describing serious impact correctly. Some outdated or ineffective prediction models are being used, okay? And then impacts are not compared with standards or targets. Impacts are not compared with standard or targets. Yes, that can also be one of the shortcomings too. Then there's incorrect conclusion drawn, especially when you are not a professional in that area. Something that have to do with farming system. All you know or where you are trained in is in geography and geography and planning. Yes, you know a little about agriculture, good and fine, but you know somebody that is vast in ecology as well as farming practice can give a correct perspective to something that has to do with farmer more than you because he has gotten some years of experience. He's also been trained in that area. He could give a better advice. That's why they say that it is a multidisciplinary. The AIA process itself is a multidisciplinary endeavor. Within your team, you need to have specialists from several sectors, from the agriculture, from the chemistry angle, somebody that is good in construction, somebody that is also very good in civil engineering, somebody as more as you can get, you get a very robust view of the project and its impact, both positive and negative. So these are some of the shortcomings and the little that they say we should describe to you in the course of this study. We cannot do everything as concerning EIA in this short time we are meeting, but in order not to overload you with a lot of information, we are just introducing you just to the process. The rest, we have set the stage for you. You can build up on it and then get yourself a lot of contrast later, and then you improve and become a firm that can raise a lot of professionals later. So, in order to get examples, you can use the World Bank info shop. Here, any project at all approved by World Bank, like I told you, they drop it on their info shop. I'm going to copy this now. Let me copy it and see how we can search for it and see. You see that it really works. The info shop. Let me see. Okay. Sorry, let me to stop sharing and then okay. Good. So paste it here. Okay. That's just the link that I shared with you. This I've just pasted it and it led me here. So let me put E environmental impact assessment. This is the World Bank info shop. Impact assessment. Let me correct this. Oh boy. Assessment, Nigeria. If you want to search the one for Benue State, whether there was anyone done in Benue State, in Kogi State, or anywhere, you can also search it too. But let's search for this, whether we can get any document. Yes, I think I can get up to 20 of them. So there is this. Any of them you see here, is a full document. You can see that some are written in French. This one, the one in Nigeria, is in English, depending on the location. So let's open this one that has to do with transforming irrigation management in Nigeria. In Nigeria project, it's an addendum, environmental and social impact assessment on Tiga Dam remedial works, and is presented in English. Open it and see. When you open it, you get down, and then you see the several format of presentation. One is in document, the other one is in the official PDF, and then we have the text format. For those of you that want to download the Word format, you can download, edit, copy, paste. Even the official PDF can also be downloaded, and you can copy from it too. But I'm going to tell you the implication of that as well too, because plagiarism is an international issue right now. And if it is the Word document you want, any of them, just click on it. It is there free for you to download. Then you could look at those case studies, how they are presented. With that, it helps build you up as a professional. So this information, these documents are there. If you go, the one for African Development Bank too, they are there. They are info shop. And then most of these multinational, they are there for you to access. If you also search Google too, you're going to see other documents, other AIA reports that are uploaded online that will help build your capacity on how to write an EIA. Like I said, never look at yourself as small to start a company, okay? Especially those of you that have connections with the Federal Ministry of Environment. Please take that bold step, and you'll find out that you'll be glad you did. So a World Bank info shop is something that documents there. If it is ESMP report you want, if it is if it is resettlement plan that you want, they are all there within the World Bank info shop. So I'll stop sharing this now and go back to our lecture so that I can conclude. Okay, let me see. So the link as shown on your note, please, is important for you to use and to develop capacity. So why use the World Bank AI report? You learn international best practices from it. You compare national versus donor requirements, and then you study AI structure for academic projects. Yes, gain academic knowledge, and then adapt AI templates for local proposals. Good and fine. You adapt EIA templates for local projects and proposals. We are not saying you shouldn't use it. You download it, even the Word document, download and use it. But one thing you must note is that when that thing is in that Word document and you are somebody with a lazy man perspective, the temptation of using, especially when it comes to that aspect of baseline information, there is always that temptation of copying what, especially if the area, if it is within the same area. Let's say it's a baseline description of what is done, of a project that was done in Makurdi local government of Benue State. You now feel, okay, since Makurdi is not too far from Boko local government, you can just use the baseline data that the person, that temptation is always there. But you know that it is completely wrong. You need to get the one that is specific for Boko, even though they are in the same state. So the World Bank EIA are often designed for specific project context. Copying them verbatim could lead to misfit of local realities. A lot of people have been caught like that when they do so, and which could lead to stakeholders' rejection. Okay, especially when you display your EIS report. They'll say, no, 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 this thing that this person is saying about this place, now lie, it's not correct. And that also put a question mark on your integrity as well too. It could also lead to litigation. You do a report and the report is saying that generally the people of this place, they are fishermen. And then when they see the report, they'll say, but it's farming that we do here now. Okay, so such verbatim copying, the risk is there, the temptation is there. So use this document responsibly. Okay, just like some people do during materials and methods. Sorry, during a literature review of project, you go to see a lot of them as supervisors. We have seen a lot of things during student projects. Some people just prefer let the literature review be written somewhere. They'll just go and lift it like that and boom and drop inside their project work. It's not done that way. That is plagiarism. You are copying from somebody's effort. You are supposed to make effort. And now that there is AI, that one is even the worst. And you know that AI gives depending on the prompt you give AI, it can give you a very false reference and present it beautifully. But some of us know. A student brought one work to me one time and it was referencing me as the author of the work. I say, is it not stupidity? If you are even going to cheat this way, must you use me? Or are you just being careless? I'm not the one that authored this work, so why are you putting my name there? But AI did it for the person perfectly and put it there like that. So, and a lot of people that didn't check their student work and send it to some publications from publishers to publish, they end up embarrassing themselves at the end of the day because of AI. Because answers that will be provided, they are not correct. AI will just generate one fictitious one, something you can never find anywhere. So there is also that risk also, especially for a lot of you that are so dependent on AI output these days. AI is there for us to use. It's supposed to help us to limit the number of time. In fact, AI will provide a guide. The summary or the ideas that you need several weeks. AI can do it for you in a few seconds. But that doesn't mean you should not apply your head. You're supposed to also apply your head, humanize it, and see how you can also personalize it as well too. So those are some of the risks when accessing these documents, so that your work will stand unique, to stand credible, and also to stand as something that can stand the test of time. Because if accepted, this document, just as we are looking at somebody's own today, somebody will be looking at your AIA report tomorrow. And if it's found out that you misled the World Bank, is another problem altogether. So let's aim towards professionalism and towards accuracy, and to also make sure that we leave a very good legacy that will promote our brand. So in conclusion, EIA is a bridge between development and sustainability. A reminder to every one of us that every decision we make today must echo responsibly into the future. It must not all be about the money, but about the planet we are living in. We don't have another Earth, even though Elon Musk wants to take us to Mars later, but that is a big dream. I don't know whether he's going to achieve it during his lifetime. But with all the conditions we know about Mars, before we can colonize Mars, it's going to take a very long time, because the condition there does not support human life for now. So this is the only earth we have. And if we keep destroying it, it's going to echo into the future as well too. But if we protect it responsibly, it will also echo into the future as well. So I want to thank you for your patience and for your audience, and I'll leave this time for questions and comments. Thank you very much. So like I said, it's a very brief one this morning. So questions, please. All right, Stephen, I'll take
Morning, sir.
Stephen first.
Good
Yes,
morning,
thank you.
class. Thank you so much for a very elaborate class. Yeah, you've been so kind with your delivery. Thank you so much. So my question,
Thank
sir,
you.
in the EIS processes, that
Yes,
is the document, the content of the document. I
yes.
didn't see analysis of alternatives, and it's one thing I always see in some documents. Maybe I download to check. So basically, how do you go about carrying out that analysis of alternatives? If you can give us a step. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Permit me to send examples to you maybe much later. You take a look at that, please. All right. Any other hand up? I'm going to forward one or two documents to you. When you look at it, you see the analysis of alternatives there, because there are a lot of them. All right. George Akanyi,
Good morning, sir. Sir,
good
looking at
morning.
the whole of this process, in as much
Mm,
as you have given us just a summary of what we have,
yes.
how long can one assume to carry out this process for a project? I'm saying this because when I watched the video of yesterday, the one of the staff there was saying it if at all they were to follow the right process, it would take up 10 years or more. They wouldn't have started the project.
Yes.
How long is specific for someone to do a good, sizable, and then the correct EIA that stands test of time? Thank you, sir.
Yes. There is no specific time for it to, but it now depends on your proficiency as the consultant that is being employed to do the work. Okay, so you need to do a thorough job. You can deliver within 1 month if you have the technical, if you have the capacity. That means you have professionals from all over that can give you the required information. You can do your stakeholder engagement and a whole lot and gather all the input. You can deliver also within 1 year. But usually the proponent, that is the borrower or the person, the interest party of the project that is employing you, usually gives you a time, okay, that you need to deliver, and you need to do a very good job. So because when you submit, as you all know, it will go through the processes. The Ministry of Environment will take a look at it. They'll give it to reviewers. They also give the reviewers time frame. I'm not any one of us that is with the Federal Ministry of Environment or NESRA. You can actually make comment on this so that we can understand the practical process more. But I know time is given. Time is given, but it also depends on you delivering a good and a comprehensive work. Because if you do a terrible job, they can actually reject it or even send you back to the field again. So usually, I said it in one of the slides, there's actually no specific time per se, but usually based on your agreement with the person engaging you, they'll give you time to deliver, and you need to deliver a credible work. Don't push yourself to a corner whereby you end up copying a whole lot of things that are not real. Philemon, I'll get your input. Then Terry, you get prepared too. After Terry, Ban, Comfort. Yeah, Joko, you may speak. I'm telling you to unmute Ajoko Philemon. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Is Philemon having issue with his network?
A report project I've seen and I've also visited. You discover that if you ask the developers, they'll tell you they've not done environmental auditing. So is there any way we can which part of the EIA precisely can we insert in or recommend environmental auditing for projects that are being carried out, sir? And again, how do we factor life cycle analysis of some of the issues we've identified, even though we've proposed mitigational measures? How do we factor all of this? Thank you, sir.
Factor all of it as what now?
Okay. Now, for instance, you are carrying out a project that on water shield, and you discover that the environment there, maybe you are trying to redo a reforestation, for instance, and then there are some elements, maybe the livelihood of the people is being affected, and then they keep cutting down the trees that you are planting. And probably if you want to do an environmental auditing, the people will tell you it's not being captured in the environmental impact assessment. So, how do we now factor it? And which aspect of the EI do we recommend environmental auditing precisely?
Okay. An environmental audit, the way it is being done, is not at the initial phase. They are carried out after the project is either the project have been implemented. That is during the operational phase. Sometimes even during the commissioning phase as well, too, the life of the project. And usually that is when you come in. Okay, you started the work already, and you started noticing some things, and then an audit becomes important. So at that phase for audit, the project is already running. So the audit, usually what they do is that they check whether the project is complying with environmental laws and approval, and also to check whether these mitigation measures that you describe inside the environmental and social management plan, whether they are actually being implemented, and then the actual environmental impacts. This is where it also gets a little bit more tricky. That actual environmental impact versus what is predicted. Are you really, is what you predicted inside your ESMP, is that what is actually happening actually during the process of project implementation? So audit comes in there, and with that now you begin to see areas that needs actions or corrections. Okay. I'm not very sure of this, but I think the Federal Ministry of Environment, during their monitoring activities, they actually are supposed to suggest that and the need for that to be done in case they see that what you predicted is not matching the actual impact that is being seen on the field when you are carrying out environmental, when you are carrying out the project itself. So that's the little I could say for now. But please, anybody with much more experience in the field could actually add to that. Terry Adoga.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for your elaborate presentation, sir. My question, sir, is about the scoping and baseline study. The position appears conflicting somehow.
Sorry?
Because I mean the scoping process in the
Yes.
EIS study. After scoping, the product of scoping based on your delivery is the terms of reference.
Yes.
And the terms of reference define the scope, the task, and the responsibility. Otherwise, the blueprint of the EIS study.
Yes.
So this is where my challenge lies.
Okay.
Having the scope of the task to be done on behalf of the baseline study that would have provided the reference information to guide the scope. I don't know. Wouldn't there be a conflict after defining the scope, the significant impact to be studied, and you go back to gather information, to collect data? I think there will be a gap in terms of impact significance, because doing scoping on behalf of the baseline information, I feel will not provide the actual significant impact that ought to be studied. And as such, there will be a back and forth kind of exercise.
No.
So I don't think.
Okay, technically speaking, they come usually immediately after the screening exercise. But I'll tell you something that, because I've also witnessed it too. Most times, most consultants, they do it together with the baseline. In fact, you need to also to have the baseline data in order to actually do a better prediction of
Exactly.
of that. So in that instance, that is where the wisdom also comes into. You cannot be doing those two. Okay, go on.
That means there's a slight variation between the theoretical context and applied context of the entire EIS.
Well, if you want to put it that way, if you want to put it that way. But those activities, I can tell you that in the field, they are usually done together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
But report it as that process that is coming immediately after screening.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
All right. Thank you. All right. Comfort, so that it will not be all male. Thank you for serving the ladies.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. It was indeed well detailed. Sorry, sir, my question is on costing. It is very easy when you are carrying out some projects that you are required to purchase some items. You can easily add up the actual cost and then add the manpower scaling and maybe what you are paying the workers, the facilities, and all of that. And then you can easily cost like. But then when it comes to EIA, what are those elements that guide you in costing your client? What are those things you're supposed to put in place that you charge? Because something happened, somebody was making a joke like he cost someone 1 million for, though that was a joke anyway. And I was asking myself, okay, if I should do this for someone, what are those things? What are those elements I'm supposed to put in place that will guide me so that I'm not overcharging the person, neither am I subcharging the person? Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you for that question. That's a very good one too. There's something I'm going to answer you of academic knowledge, but there is something our Igbo brothers they do that set them apart. That's what they call apprenticeship. Even in law firm, there is some level of apprenticeship that takes place too. You are supposed to have studied under somebody. This is not something you wake up and then you dust off your cloth and you start going to do. You need to learn the trade, okay? At least partner with somebody, do 1 or 2 EIA projects, even the Federal Ministry of Environment, before committing a particular, a reasonable, except you want to cut corner or you know somebody and people want to do a shared deal with an EIA request. Usually they give it to somebody with experience. And during your accreditation also, I want to tell you that they will ask you a question. Which project, okay, EIA, have you been associated with? That is, have you partnered with somebody? Have you worked under an environmental firm that have carried out a credible EIA that passes, okay, that was approved by the Federal Ministry of Environment? With all that, I want to assure you that you are gaining experience. You are looking at also where the person undercharged or where the person also failed in costing as well too. You are building your own personal knowledge and profile. With that, when you get into it, you find out that you'll be able to charge properly. You'll be able to do a whole lot of things without stress. So I want to suggest that instead of just starting immediately, even though we are advised to go out and push ourselves out there in order to attract some of these contract that comes in millions, like I said. First of all, learn this thing. Get experience from the firm. Attach yourself to a credible firm and learn. Learn the process. Learn how review is being done. Learn how they gather baseline data. Learn how All right, sorry, I got kicked out, but I'm back. Okay, so Comfort, I hope that answered your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for the rest.
Oh, you're welcome. So I'm
Thank you,
not
sir.
seeing any hand up again. So with that, class rep, do we move to the next phase? Or I should show you. George, you want to say something again? George.
So there are comments in the chat section. There are
Okay.
questions there. Thank you.
All right, let me get Isaac, your comment quickly. Isaac Yeren. Okay. On the comment section, let me check the chat section.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for a lecture well delivered. Yesterday, while we were in the other lectures, you showed us a map that was showing a site where a construction was to take place. The actual location of that construction, I think it was tilting towards one part of the map. So I got confused. Are there any dimensions to which the construction site should be located? There are issues where they say this should be 14 kilometers in radius, and then all sides are involved 14 kilometers. So I don't know whether in AIA is still the same thing, that specifications are given from the site of construction.
No, not from the site of construction per se. You see, when you are presenting figures or presenting charts or whatever you want to present, there are key elements you want the person reading your work to take a look at.
Yes,
if
sir. Okay.
There is a river close by and you want that river
Yes, sir.
to show on the map because of its importance in your presentation, you tilt it a little bit towards that particular area, especially if the other aspect is not having some level of variations. that will shortchange
Yes, sir.
that aspect of the map. If whatever you
Mm.
want to show is, let's say it is at the left, the project is at the, is okay, let's say the project is somewhere, you only have vegetation, thick vegetation at the left. You show
Yes, sir.
the thick vegetation there. But at the right-hand side, there is water, there is building, there is a whole lot of things that you wish to project there. You also take your GIS, the map, you do it in such a way that it will cover all those other activities going on at this other side in order for you to showcase what you are explaining in the text.
Okay.
That this
Yes,
area,
sir.
these are the anthropogenic activities, these are the whatever the physical condition of the place, and then the person looking at the map will also be seeing it in that place. So personally, that is what I feel is there. But if there's anybody with geography background here that could also contribute to that, we will appreciate it too. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm clear.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm getting a question on that. Must a whole lot of specialists be engaged in an EIA? Now, you cannot, with what we know about the environment and then the social component of it, it's not everybody. You cannot put all the, the specialists in it, but let it at least be comprehensive to some extent. And when you don't even have some information, what stops you from asking somebody you know that have the information, okay, that knows very well? Consult. People in the academics are part of the stakeholders in an EIA process. Where necessary, consult them to get the information you need. If it is a project that you have a lot of money, why not include a lot of but when you also don't have a lot of money, you also have to apply wisdom in the engagement of specialists. There are some information that you can access them online. That's just the truth. And there are some you access, you also confirm to be sure that a specialist back it up for you. Sir, the knowledge of ESIA in which the Federal Ministry of Environment is a major overseer with all the roads, bridges that are constructed within our country, Nigeria. Can we say EIA is being carried out because the contractor carrying out their duties, the health of the communities are not put in place? How can we reduce this? And is there a body you can report the contractors to? Yes, I think we said that in the first day that when some of these things are not being adhered to, NESRA is there for enforcement. Okay, NESRA is there for enforcement, and one of us working with NESRA says that it's not as if NESRA doesn't know what to do, but sometimes I don't know whether he will permit me to use this word. Like policemen, they are not properly mobilized to the field. So you call on me, and at the end of the day, I'm ending up spending my personal money to come and do enforcement. It becomes an issue. And sometimes when we say also political powers that be can actually shut some things up too. So these are some of the peculiarities we have. That student is here with us too. He can also share with us as concerning how this is done. Yes, the laws are there, the enforcement. I think Nezra is ready to do that, but they have issues. So you can report it to Nezra, and it has to do with oil spillage. You go to Nostra. Those are the people that enforce these things. All right, please kindly share. Okay, the ESMP. Yes, sir, we have had series of acronyms during the course. Sorry. During the course, which align perfectly until today's topic, EIS, instead of EIAS, which should be Environmental Impact Assessment Statement. Surprisingly, EIS is mentioned only on the topic for today, sir. Yes, like I told you, EIS is Environmental Impact Statement. That is the output of an EIA or an ESIA. Okay? That one, there is no gainsaying that. EIS, we call it Environmental Impact Statement. And if it is a category B work you are doing, where you do an EMP or an ESMP, it is an ESMP or an EMP report. Don't call it an EIS. It may be technically wrong to do that. So those are some of the jargons involved, Francis. So you just know that for technical sake. Okay, somebody have responded to that. Sir, to add to the questions of that Isaac asked, experts from different fields are also involved so that they will definitely provide their expertise as regard to what is to be done when it comes to mapping or dimension. Well, like I said, all of them is dependent on the funding you have for the exercise. Nigerians will tell you that no good do pass yourself. Okay? But it's very, very important if at the end of the day you put the list of your team and it is robust, credible people that you are using, that you have used to come about your EIA, your EIS. Of course, it goes a long way to give you a leverage when your work is being reviewed by the Federal Ministry of Environment. Once again, I want to thank you all. I think I've exhausted all the questions at the chat section, but if there's anyone I've missed out, you can please draw my attention to as we move forward. So, class rep, do I have the permission for us to do the presentation now, or we push it to afternoon? I'm thinking afternoon we can rest or do our poll that time on when to take the assessment.
Prof has been kicked out, so wait for him to get back. Lecturer has been pushed out, so wait for him a bit to come back. So just a minute. Hello, good afternoon. Prof just Good afternoon. Prof just communicated me and he said network kicked him out as soon as MTN around him collapsed. He couldn't get back on the call. Even he tried using Glue, but the Glue is so weak that I cannot get him back on Zoom. So we should dismiss, then to resume for the afternoon class. Then we'll also go back to the WhatsApp group and carry out a poll on when it will be more convenient for the assessment. Thank you very much. We will conduct a poll on WhatsApp, on our WhatsApp group, a general group, so that we will know when it will be convenient for the test to be carried out. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Edna. Okay. So class dismissed.